Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul, and I'm a nerd, and you are here for the November 2016 Tabs3 Virtual User Group meeting, where today it is Integration Day. We're going to talk about trust account integration into Tabs. Mary Jo's going to take that topic, and I'm going to touch briefly on payroll integration into General Ledger. Let's press all the magic buttons all in the right order to get us back to where we need to be. You know what, I am going to save that so that Mary Jo can talk about trust integration. Mary Jo?
Okay.
And I will give you keyboard and mouse. So you know everybody what she's going to say next. She's going to say, Paul, give me keyboard and mouse.
Sorry.
I'll go do that right now.
Yeah, like I'm not moving.
Here we go. On its way.
All right. There we go. All right, so I'm going to start in Tabs because we have to turn on our integration in Tabs first before we can turn on the integration in Trust. So to do that, we go out into Utilities Maintenance, and in our customization, and Ron is in there. Ron.
Oh, let's get him out of there. Because
you're in the.
was looking at that.
Yeah, I can browse. That's all right. I could have browsed.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. So let me just browse this. And so what we're going to do in the other systems, there is a section that you can turn on the trust integration. So you have to say right off the bat, am I going to integrate trust with Tabs here? So we have to integrate Tabs with the trust accounting. And then you can also say whether or not you want to print the trust balance only statements when no activity, and you can also decide if you want to include clients with only a trust balance on the WIP report. So this is some information here that you can decide and check, but you do need to have this first box checked, integrate with Tabs3 trust accounting, checked off. Once you've got that done, I'm going to go over to trust. I'm going to kind of flip back and forth here a little bit so you can see where we set up trust. So we're going to go over to the utilities maintenance over here into customization. And again, we're going to just get out of that. I don't know if that one will let me browse, so we're just going to have to close you out. Yeah, I'm just going to get you out of this here for a second. I think you can be there, but I don't think you can be in something. There we go. So in here, we also have a box to integrate with Tabs3. I know it sounds kind of redundant. You already said that you want to integrate Tabs, but you also have to have Trust and tell Trust that you also want to integrate with that. So you need both of those checked so that we can go ahead and have the integration turned on to go back and forth. So what does that mean? So first off, we want to be able to, when we make a payment to the firm in Trust, to be able to go ahead and have that post over into Tabs. So that's one area of integration here that we're saying that if we have a trust account open from Tabs, that we want to go ahead and post a payment directly to that same matter in Tabs if we're going to do a withdrawal and write a check out to the firm. Rather than have to write that check, go into Tabs, open it up, and then manually enter that payment in to say it's coming into the firm, there is this integration. Now to get that, we use a special vendor that is the trigger that will say, okay, this is going to be a payment to the firm. And it's very complex, the naming here. It's actually called firm. I know that sounds like pretty involved, but seriously, you just name it firm. You put in the address of the firm, and what that does is whenever a vendor is of the firm, it will automatically put in your firm name. In ours, I think it's Martin Jensen and whatever for our test data. But it will trigger that this is a Tabs payment. So as soon as we type in the word firm for a vendor, so let's go out to Trust Transactions, and let's say that I want to make a payment to this matter in Trust. So this is just for John Williams. I'm just going to go ahead and make it be an EFT just so I can flip it in here real quick. And I'll put $100 payment. The description can be for whatever, legal fees, whatever this is that you're going to do, attorney fees. But down here in the payee is where I'm going to type that firm. Hit my tab key, and I know that still says firm, but if I were to actually print a check, it would put in the correct firm name there. But what that does when I type the word firm is it makes this little Tabs3 tab become available. If I had put in any other vendor and I tried to click on that Tabs3, it would be grayed out. I couldn't touch it. But if I put in firm, I can then click on Tabs3, verify that this is the payment that I want to go over, and then go ahead and save it. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. And since I did an EFT, if I go over to client number 101 in Tabs, I will see a payment in there. So let's get into Client Manager and do 101. And there, if I click on my payments, is my $100 payment from Trust, right there.
Wow.
And it came in automatically because I used the word firm. Didn't have to come over and post it separately or anything like that. It was just there. Now, if I had done a check, and I had entered a check in here, and the check was still unpaid, like this one right here, that one still says unpaid. What that unpaid means is it's not been printed yet. I would not see that payment hit Tabs until this check actually prints and there's a check number here. So if I had used the firm vendor for this one, that would post over there once that was printed and the check number appeared. So don't be alarmed if you've got an unpaid and it doesn't go over. It's because you haven't printed the check yet. And as soon as you do, it'll post over to Tabs at that point in time. So you can enter these ahead of time and then print all your checks on Friday, and they'll all post in there just how you're expecting. So let's look at some other integration with Tabs, because now we've got this payment over here, and we might want to show that payment. Well, that payment's going to show because it's a Tabs payment now at this point in time. But, and I guess let's take this one step further before I move on, because this payment now will follow whatever your general ledger integration settings are. If you're integrating with general ledger, now it becomes a payment that's going to hit your fee income and be posted into your bank account. So as soon as that post from Trust, it hits the GL, and now it's going to show up in your income statement because now it's income that has come to the firm. So that's just that final part of that. Now let's say I want this to show all that trust activity to show on the actual statement at the bottom. I want to see their balance. I want to see whatever in there. In Tabs, under each matter, there is an integration section here that we can see whether or not we want that to show. So I'm going to go over to my, my statement options. There we go. My mouse is not following me. There's a trust integration option right here. So this one right now is saying, no, we're not going to show any trust activity on the statement at the bottom of the statement. We don't want the client to see that. It's just over in Trust. But I have some options here that I can do detail or summary. And to show you what these look like, I'm going to go ahead and use the little yellow question mark here, or page-specific help. And we're going to go into that. And I'm going to show you on that trust integration, I'm just going to click that, to show you what that will look like. Make it a little bit bigger. So here's the detail, and I thought I could show you better than describing this. So here's trust account activity, and you can change this terminology. Sometimes I've seen this where it says trust account number 1 or something like that. If you don't want that, you can just put trust account activity, IOLTA activity. You can change this terminology. But then it will have the opening balance, it'll have all the activity in and out, and then it will have a closing balance. So then it will tell you what they still have. And the client will see this at the bottom of their statement. If you just want the summary, it's just going to give one line that says your trust account balance is, and that will be whatever that is. No activity, just what their balance is at that point in time as you've run the statement. And that goes by the statement date. So that's where that would come in. So if you choose to want to include that information on the statement, you can change that to either summary or detail, and then that will print. So that's the other part of the integration that we turn on then.
One's for information so that your clients can know what's going on, and the other's for your convenience.
Yep.
I really like the way that not only does it go from Trust into Tabs, but then straight over into GL, which is really, you know, people buy the trust accounting software because that stuff has to stay totally separate. And then as soon as that payment hits, it goes to all the right places.
Now, one other thing people ask is, you know, when they have to set up trust accounts too, the integration, when you have those things turned on and you've synced Practice Master and Tabs and trust accounting, anytime you open a client in Tabs, those matters are automatically over in Trust waiting for you to go ahead and open a trust account, because not all matters have a trust account. So if I look at my trust account list here, I can see here's one that says Tabs. So this administrative account right here is just a client that's out there waiting. Here's another one. This is Michael Larson. His matter 1 is just waiting out there. If we do end up having a trust account, we can turn it on. It's already here. We don't ever have to do anything except say, yeah, we want a trust account for this. So here's one that has trust account number 2 filled in. And so, I can just open it right from there. So you don't have to recreate the wheel. I mean, that's the big thing about integration here is we're trying to limit what we have to do in each of the programs. So that's already information that's there, and you can just choose it, open it, and then everything integrates from that point forward.
Beautiful.
Oh.
And the perfect segue, because I'm talking about not recreating the wheel when it comes to your payroll data. Now, I'm going to be a little more theoretical because we don't have Pensoft payroll, and really we have many clients that use it, but we don't really sell it. We just say, hey, go get this, and it'll integrate with GL. So all I'm going to do is take you into General Ledger and show you that if you click on the Integration tab, you have a Pensoft payroll data posting mechanism that warns you to back up first and then tells you that this Ron guy is just like everywhere. Okay, let's get the Ron out of the Client Manager in Tabs. Oops, now I've got my GoToWebinar control panel in the way here. You got him. Okay, that Ron guy is now out of there. So if we go over to GL and we click on Post Pensoft Data, it's really pretty simple. Here's what happens. If you're using Pensoft every 2 weeks, every month, twice a month, whatever your pay periods are, you run Pensoft and it figures out how much to pay people, and it does the EFTs, and it prints the checks. It does whatever you need to do for payroll. And then there's a routine in Pensoft that creates this data file that GL is looking for. And so once you're done with your Pensoft payroll processing, you create that file, you come here, you point to it, you tell it which journal it needs to go into, and it's, you may have a special payroll journal, you may just have a general journal that you use for everything, and you go. And it pulls all that data into GL from Pensoft. Now, if you're doing this manually, whether you have Pensoft or not, if you're doing this manually, you know that the creation of the payroll GL journal entry can be a big task. It can take 5, 10, 15 minutes. It's been made easier over the years by the automatic journal entry creation and the autofill and things like that, but it's still something that needs to be done. And you're putting numbers in, and anytime you're putting numbers in that have already been produced someplace else, you have the chance of getting out of balance or making an error and getting something over in GL that's different than what was done in payroll. So really it's just taking that step where you're producing your payroll through Pensoft and automatically then taking that and transferring it over to GL. That's really all there is to it. Now, you don't have to be using Pensoft. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Mary Jo, but I think this is actually new. It used to be that if you were using something else, she's nodding her head no, so I'm wrong.
No.
But if you're using something like ADP or Paychecks or some other outsourced payroll processing service, as long as they can get you a file in the right format, you'll notice when we get in here that it's exactly the same thing as posting the Pensoft data, only it's pulling from a different location. And if we click on that helpful little yellow question mark, we will see that this is the data file that it's looking for, and if we click that, we will see a layout of how that data file needs to look. Now, I know this is kind of gibberish, but let me just say this. If you have somebody preparing your payroll and they can't give you the GL data in this sort of a format, then somebody there can, okay? Maybe the person that set up your account can't. Maybe they don't understand that they can do that. But we have clients using ADP. We have clients using Paychecks. And I'm sure we have clients using a couple other payroll services who are getting a file in this format with all the parts of the journal entry in this file. And then they're doing the same thing that you would do if you had Pensoft, create your data. They're simply putting that file in the right place, pointing to it, running this routine, and pulling that data in. So it's as simple as that. You can pull your data in from Pensoft. You can pull your data in from another service as long as that other service can get it out in the right format. It may even be another payroll package, but we typically kind of try to steer people toward using Pensoft if they're going to do their own payroll, simply because the integration's already built in.
And that Pensoft, when you're using Pensoft, at the very beginning when you set up, there is a link. It's like for tabs. There's like a whole screen that you plug in what those account numbers are. So you do that one time at the beginning, and then it goes ahead and spits out that journal entry file every time then. So you set it up once that, yes, my bank account is this number in tabs and in general ledger, and then this is my, SUDA, federal tax and all that. So you tell it and you map it per se, and then when it comes in, every time you do payroll, it knows then that that's where it's going to put everything.
Yep.
So it's very easy to do.
It's a beautiful thing. Once that payroll integration is set up right, it just happens after that. So next month, what are we talking about? Next month, we're going to talk about a new invoice lookup report that we have written because some of our clients have asked us to, and we're giving it away to anybody that wants it. If you have upgraded to version 18 and gotten through a couple billing cycles, you may have noticed that the ability to look up an invoice when you don't know the client number, but you do know the invoice number, is kind of gone. And so we've replaced that with a report that we've written, and I'm going to show you how that works. And Mary Jo is going to talk about text macros, which are really just shorthand ways of replicating or producing long bits of text that you don't really want to type yourself every time you're putting in a fee entry, or your attorneys or paralegals are putting in fee entries. So that's what we're going to talk about next month. And of course, I need to show you that if you go to Attorney Computer Systems, and notice the emphasis, systems, the emphasis on that last S in systems. If you go to attorneycomputersystems.com, making sure to get that last S in there, that you can see all the different video titles that we have. And we have these live events. We have the Tabs3 Virtual User Group meeting, which you're attending right now, Practice Master Virtual User Group, World Docs Virtual User Group. We have our Coffee Pot webinars. That's where I, on a monthly basis, will take some other product. Like 2 months ago, we talked to somebody from Pensoft Payroll. Next month, we're talking to somebody from Nelco who makes the 1099s and checks that you use with accounts payable. These are all live events, the virtual user group meetings and the Coffee Pot webinars. So if we click on Tabs 3, we will find, first off, a link to register for the next meeting or next live event. This will be updated sometime this afternoon. And a description of what's going on, and 2 links, either that one or that one, will both take you to a registration page. But then as you scroll down, you'll find the pre-recorded versions or the recorded versions of all those live events. So if you miss something, it's still going to be here, usually about a week or 2 after we cut. So today's webinar, today's virtual user group meeting should be out on the site probably in a week or 2. If you also hover on videos, you'll find our 2 pre-recorded video titles, the eBytes video series that Mary Jo does 3 of each month, 1 for Tabs, 1 for Practice Master, and 1 for World Docs. These are short little 2, 3, 4-minute videos with something very cool and very brief, something that can be explained in 2 or 3 minutes. And as we say, 1 for each of the 3 major titles. And then we have our longer format Paul and Mary Jo show, which is I or Mary Jo taking a broader topic, one that's a little bit more meaty, and spending a good deal of time, 10, 15, sometimes even 20 minutes, explaining in great depth what that is. So be sure to use our search feature, be sure to browse what's out there, but more than that, be sure to take advantage of this content. There's a lot of videos. I wouldn't say thousands, but we're getting close to 1,000. But we put out quite a few videos, about 9 or 10 of them a month. So there's a lot of content out there. Take advantage of it. It's there for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, except in leap year. That's it for today. Everybody have a good rest of the day, and we will see you in December. Bye.